Hello, friends. My name is Olivia Pelts, and I am one of the therapists here at Sunshine City Counseling. And today's question, this is a good one. As a therapist, how do you work with a teen client who does not want to be in therapy? Great question, because this is often what we get asked when parents of teens call us and they're like, hey, so my teen needs therapy for X, Y, and Z, but they don't want to come. So how do we work with them? Well, they don't want to come, then we don't. But that's not the answer that you want. So how do we work with basically someone who's not super jazzed or super into going to therapy? Well, a lot of the times they have this conjecture, they have this idea of what therapy is going to be like. I can't tell you how many times a teen has walked into my office and sits down and I'm just chatting with them about like whatever, what TikToks and, trying to be cool and trying to understand their world a little bit. And then I'll say at some point, I'm like, so was this what you thought? And almost always they say, no, I thought you were going to be like 70 years old. I'm like, thanks. So I think a lot of the time the resistance to therapy is because they have this picture of the type of person that the therapist is. Like, it's an older person who's just so out of touch and who they can't possibly relate to, and it's going to be so boring. I don't want to talk about my feelings. If you are a skilled teen therapist, you're going to work with the client. So a lot of times my teen, I'm like, listen, I know mom and dad or whomever just want you to be here. So like, we got to figure something out, but how are we going to make this work for both of us? And there have been sessions that some silence happens. But a lot of times they don't want to talk, but I don't make them talk. You know what I mean? Then we play games or we talk about whatever they want to talk about. And eventually we get to the areas or the issue that is kind of at hand. But it's similar, right? Like, how do you work with a client how do you work with an adult client who doesn't want to be in therapy? First off, you probably don't. Second of all, you try to meet the client where they're at, right? Like, we try to work with the teen. We try to meet the teen where they're at and say, hey, I get it. Like, it sucks. I don't want you here, or dad wants you here, and you feel like you're forced. You don't have any power or control or voice. How can I, as your therapist, help you to find your voice, right? And also, when we work with teens, we're not just working with the teen in like a vacuum. We're working with the family. Like, yeah, we're going to work with that teen, obviously, maybe more so, at least in the beginning. But I'm going to get their buy-in and their trust to eventually talk to mom and or dad about what we are working on in therapy and where it kind of makes sense to have mom and or dad come into the session with us and to talk through some different issues as they kind of come up. And so our job really as a teen therapist or a teen counselor is, in many ways, we are kind of the go-between of helping that teen identify what they're feeling and how to communicate that to mom and or dad in a way that feels safe, that feels honoring. Because a lot of times, right, like as parents, the way we talk to our kids or the way that they perceive things or whatever it might be might come across as harsh or aggressive, or they don't even care about me. All they want to care about is my grades and blah, 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 blah. And so it's also helping the parent be the kind of parent that that particular teen needs. Because if you have the same parenting style for 5 different kids, it's not going to work because you need 5 different parenting styles, which is why parenting is such an incredibly difficult job, because it requires so much of you as the parent. And so how do we work with a teen who doesn't want to be in therapy? First off, we're not going to force it. Second of all, we're going to meet them where they're at. Third of all, we're going to work with the whole system, because again, the teen is a minor. And so they can't just like leave a bad situation if they feel like home's a bad situation. It's like, how can we help and equip them with tools to identify what they're feeling, to express what they're feeling in really healthy ways, and how to have healthy relationships and interactions with their primary caregivers. So those are just a few ways of how we at Sunshine City Counseling and Eastern Shore Counseling in Portland, Maine, work with teens. If you're curious to schedule a free session with us, if you're like, hey, I kind of like that, that sounds cool. Like I said, you can schedule a free session with us at sunshinecitycounseling.com or at easternshorecounseling.co. We've got a home base in St. Petersburg, Florida, so we service the Tampa Bay area. We also have an office in downtown Portland, Maine, so we service the greater area of Portland, Maine, which is pretty cool. So anyways, if you have any other questions or you're just, hey, how do you work with this or what about this, shoot us an email. Again, either of those websites work, or just send us an email at info@sunshinecitycounseling.com. But until next time, you guys stay classy, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.